Father Richard Carberry was known as the fighting priest of Bataan who never fired a shot. He valiantly served the men in his care and is credited with helping many survive the Battle of Corregidor, Bataan, the Bataan Death March, and the horrors of the Davao POW camp. Father Richard was also key in the only successful group escape from a Japanese POW camp. He was awarded a Silver Star with oak leaf cluster and 2 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart. Richard was born in Guthrie County, Iowa in 1905, and after the rigors of farm life, went on to Columbia College in Dubuque, where he starred as a halfback. Of note, 2 of his brothers played and starred at the University of Iowa in the early 1900s, and 2 other brothers under Knute Rockne. Though a total of 7 boys in the family loved football and athletic pursuits, including Richard, and many of them went into coaching after college, Richard had a calling and became a priest and was assigned to a parish in Oregon in the late 1930s. Before World War II began, he joined the Army and was commissioned a second lieutenant stationed in the Philippines. The war then came to him in December of 1942, with the Japanese attacking Pearl Harbor and then the Philippines. He telegrammed his worried mother and father back on the farm and said, "Do not worry. Not playing golf this week, but everything A-OK." Soon, he and others were trapped on the island of Corregidor, and then, starving, were marched inland 100 miles in what became known as the Bataan Death March. Around 70,000 American military and Filipino citizens made the march. 18,000 died on the trip. He ministered to many, said Mass, and offered encouragement. The horrors of this march included decapitations, and once at camp, some prisoners were burned alive. After a year on Davao, 4 Americans prepared an escape. They knew Father Richard would be key in the attempt. The leader of the escape plan, Army Air Force Major Sam Gracio, said Carberry was perfect. A courageous, personable man who was young, strong, and athletic. Father Richard accepted the escape plan and gave very important information on villages in the countryside. Gracio added, "Having a priest within this Catholic country could prove a great attribute." However, on the day of the escape, Father Richard was in the camp hospital with malaria and did not go. Years later in the United States, the senior priest at Davao told Gracio that he had ordered Father Richard not to go, as the Japanese guards would then curtail all religious services, or worse, and that as a priest, it was Father Richard's duty to stay with the sick and dying and administer aid, which he did. Father Richard could not bear to tell Gracio this and feign malaria so he could stay with the men. Gracio and his men made it out with directions from Carberry and were picked up eventually by a U.S. submarine. After suffering through nearly 2 more years in Japanese prison camps, Father Carberry would survive the bombing of the POW transport or Yokomaru by U.S. planes, only to die in late January 1945 while en route to Japan aboard another Japanese hell ship, as they were called, the Brazil Maru, from malaria and complications of a chest wound. He was buried somewhere in the South China Sea. Years later, after his death, an old letter from Father Richard, while in prison, somehow made it to his favorite sister in Iowa, that said, "I look forward to seeing you again and all the family in the green rolling hills of Guthrie County." Regarding Captain Chaplain Carberry's actions in the Battle of Bataan, Major General Richard Wainwright stated in his citation, "His fearless action in traversing the entire length of a convoy, unarmed, which was under intense enemy fire, Captain Carberry showed utter disregard for his own safety and gave aid to wounded and raised the morale and efficiency of the entire command." Today, Chaplain Carberry's name is on the World War II Chaplain Memorial in Arlington, and he is recognized every year during Memorial Day in his hometown of Panora in Guthrie County, Iowa. He was 40 years old at his death.